They say that most times you are not the one who finds your passion, it finds you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of the Game Changers podcast. My name is Quinn Sergis, and it's a pleasure to be here with you, as always. My next guest is a barber by trade, but if I just call him a barber, it will be selling him very short. His name is Emmanuel Pierre, and his story is amazing. Come and listen how he pivoted from being a biology student to becoming a full-time entrepreneur. Happy listening. Hello, Emmanuel. How you doing, man?
I cool. Resting on a Sunday afternoon. Nothing much.
Perfect, man. I'm happy that you relax. I always want my guests to be relaxed and happy to be here. I'm happy to have you.
Of course.
Just before I hit record, I was just having a conversation with you. And it came to mind that it's been a while since we've had a conversation like that. When I was going to USC, it was a regular thing because, you were the campus barber. So all the gentlemen, at least would have been to your shop regularly. Right?
We were never scared of a conversation.
Never. I mean, that's just barbershop talk.
Correct. But since, since I leave Trinidad, I don't like my island again, man. So you all fly out and you all ain't coming back at all.
Soon. In due time.
Good. But it's good that we can have these type of technology where we can still connect.
Absolutely. Okay, bro. So let's get in some details for my listeners. Like I said in the beginning, I know you very well. But tell them about yourself.
Where do I begin? My name is Emmanuel Pierre. I am 29. This year in May, I'll be 30. So I'm reaching a milestone this year, big celebration coming up. Um,
Right.
Academically, I would have, well, this is where we met at University of the Southern Caribbean, located right here in Trinidad. I would have obtained
Right.
my degree in biology. And pay attention to the things I'm telling you now, or for the listeners, is because later on in the conversation, you'll realize that some of the things that I do has nothing to do with what I did academically currently.
Exactly.
Right? With that being said, I would have studied biology, biomedical emphasis for 3.5 years. You can say 4. Completed my degree within that time frame. And even throughout that journey, I would have ventured on some different business ideas and business ventures, which just kept going on and on as the years prolonged. And it's just funny how things unfold and how things go from year to year. And I have not been able to say, well, I'm going to continue along the path in which I started academically, which was, hey, I want to become a medical doctor. And I started that phase already with the intention not to quit. Somewhere down the line, I still hope to continue. But I've been able to challenge myself in different avenues to impact different lives and to become successful at different things. Um, what you see is what you get. Straightforward, forward thinking, very open minded. And if you start a conversation with me, then you can realize that we could talk for 7 days straight and then stop.
Right.
That's it in a nutshell.
There's definitely truth in there. Absolutely. There's definitely big truth in there. All right, so I actually mentioned a little bit that you were the campus barber. Are you still into barbering?
Let me tell you the funny thing about that. I knew before me coming a barber, I knew nothing about barbering. I never held a machine. I never held a scissors in my hand. That was in the year 2014, staying right there on Cedar Hall.
Okay.
And as a dorm student, went to university. You didn't come from so much of a wealthy background. So you find different ways to be creative, to make money, so that you could enjoy campus life. So I saw the need at that time on the dorm where persons required services such as getting a haircut on the men's dorm. So I borrowed one of my roommates' clipper. He had a clipper that he himself used to shave his own head. And I started trimming them in the room on the dorm. And from one thing lead to the next, got a room upstairs. Then it gravitated towards outside of the dorm because too many people started hearing of my services and it came. Too many people were coming on the dorm, so we moved outside of the dorm. We had a little room in the student lounge. And then until that series was going up until what year? 2017, 2016 into 17. I would have rallied around the president of the university at that time, Mr. Bowman, and back and forth with him. Hey, so I need a space where I can actually now function as a real business on the campus, one of the only student-owned business on the campus. Back and forth, I worked my magic around because I was also his barber as well. Apart from trimming men on the dorm, I became popular around the campus and off campus, so persons in the village, right? And the funny thing is, I learned that craft on my own by looking at YouTube videos, going into barbershops that were close by or around, and just picked up on it. And that's something I'm good at. Good hand-eye coordination. Just looking at something, understanding the dynamics of it, and putting it up to work. And the rest was history. I have an official space on the campus. Massacre's Barbershop lives on up until today. So from 2014 till now, there's a fully functioning barbershop on the campus. And I've turned it into a business where I don't even need to be there. And I make money from it.
Residual income. That is a big thing. And I'm seeing that grew just because you saw an opportunity. Right?
hmm hmm And I always tell people most business or entrepreneurial ventures started where someone would have identified a problem or saw the need and came up with an idea or a solution that could fill that gap or solve the need at that point in time. And guess what? Turn it into business.
Absolutely. I love that, bro. I'm just thinking, I didn't have this question written down. But as a man, we know that the barbershop plays a big role in our well-being. We go to the barbershop to meet our friends. Yes, we go to cut our hair, but it's so much more than that. Speak out to the importance of men having good friends in that type of setting.
I'll put it across like this as we on this topic. Because I haven't not only seen that in my shop, which is the space created at the university, but outside of that space, as a young man myself, there isn't much space created by society for men to interact with men in an open environment with an open mind, say whatever, get different advice from different kind of people, and feel good about it or feel challenged themselves to undertake that challenge or that problem and find solutions for it. I've experienced it outside of my own barbershop. Now, here's the unique thing about the barbershop at the university. The barbershop is situated in the heart of the university on one of the
Right.
schools, right below business school. And the dynamics of the university is so rich, meaning you have students from all different walks of life. You also have students from all parts of the Caribbean islands and all over the world. Spanish speaking countries, African speaking countries, Europe, South America, and of course the Caribbean. And all of them gravitate towards that space there. right? And also there are professionals. You're in a university, so you're going to come across some professionals, persons who have already ventured into line of doctorate and PhD and that kind of study. So when you sit down and you raise a topic, let's say we raise a global topic about the economy or politics or something, you can not only hear or relate to layman terms, you also hear very intellectual terms and messages and information coming across that can, spark a nerve and allows you to think, gravitate towards different ideas and keep an open mind. So the beauty about that space there, it gives men a space where they not only can come and talk about the woman they see down the road or the nice woman with the beautiful curves,
Right, right.
but they can have intellectual conversations. And sometimes you find some men come there with problems and they didn't even know that they're gonna find the solution to that problem within that particular space. Yeah. So I
Mm-hmm.
see it as an important space for men and even some of the women that just come. They don't say much, but they will just sit down and listen because they are sometimes amazed at some of the conversations. And even some men would have confessed as well. Um, when they would come, they would sit down and they wouldn't say anything. And then afterwards, they would see me outside of Bishop and say, "Hey, I never thought I would have come here and hear young men speak so well, so highly about different topics and so educated." Right? Sometimes, when you walk into an ordinary barbershop, you go hear old talk, street talk, rum shop talk.
Right.
But that space there is not only about that. So that's the good thing about that.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I have had that experience in particular in that shop. I used to look forward to go and cut my hair. Not just for me to look fresh, but to have a conversation. And you don't know who you meet there. Especially like on a Thursday night at USC, you know, everybody's there cutting there. And then you have some men playing football on the slab. And the conversation can go from the simple thing like sports to the most
Uh-huh.
complex topic. I love that diversity, man. And as men, we need that.
Of course, of course. That's just one of the space that is created. But as young men, we also need to create that type of space, and social media gives us that space as well, where we can have that conversation with persons not within our immediate circle or community, but across the board. Right? It takes great men like yourself and myself to take the foot forward or take the first foot forward and create that type of space and open up conversations like that. And sometimes that's all you need, a nice, healthy conversation, and you good. Could go about the week feeling like you're on cloud nine.
Absolutely. Hey, game changers. Podcasting is such a unique platform to help connect with such amazing people from all over the world and, build an amazing audience. But I know many of you are really wondering, how do I get started? How do I get my episodes and my story out on all major streaming platforms? Well, I'm glad you asked. BuzzSprout is the answer to all your podcasting problems. We use BuzzSprout as a distribution hub, and we couldn't help share it with you. If you click the link in the description, you can get started today. Even better, because you're my friend, if you sign up via my link, you'll get $20 worth of credit, so you can use as you please. So what you waiting for? Click the link in the description down below to get started today. Hello everybody, I hope you're enjoying the episode. This episode was made possible through a platform called Riverside FM. It's a platform that I've grown to love, and it really does justice to creators. Unlike Zoom or other platforms, records content locally and then uploads it to the cloud, so you have a seamless video. If you are a creator and looking to get into this space, this is the platform for you. Click the link down below to get started today. Now, I know that you are a forward-thinking person. I think this question really goes down your lane. Society is moving towards skill-based as opposed to having degrees. What are your thoughts on that shift?
Okay. You're now speaking towards a workforce within the society, within a country. Let's we could narrow it down. Let's narrow it down to small islands. We have different markets within the economy of a country. There's the auto mechanics market, cars and all those things that goes with it. There's the wood and lumber, the oil and gas industry. There's the manufacturing sector that creates processed food, the agricultural sector. So all these goods and services plays a part in contributing towards the economy of that small island. So as our economy now is challenged in the sense where you're now shifting towards a more skill-based society, meaning the citizens themselves. You don't want to tend to limit or see one as more important than the other. You need to strike a balance because all these others are important as well to make up the economy, right? Which is simply selling and buying and selling, trading something or trading goods and services or skill set for the exchange of either cash or some form of revenue. So this is a problem I'm seeing right now within my small island, which is Trinidad, in particular, because we would have had free education for a while, probably more than 20 years and counting. And what that would have done, and I don't know if the persons who would have come up with the idea in the beginning thought about this so much 20 years down the road, we now have a highly educated society of young persons between the ages of 25 to 35. Majority, if not all of them, are at high level of degree, masters, and the list goes on. So now you have this large amount of persons within society with this high level of education, but guess what? You have nowhere to employ them. So they end back up falling right back down into a job or a space to earn that only requires you to simply have a skill. A shoemaker, an electrician, a mason, a carpenter, a barber, a technician. All these are skill set that sometimes these persons who have these same masters and degree, because there's no space within our small island for them to find a job and find a life in which you can earn and contribute towards that circle of the economy that we talk about. They end up falling back on their skills. You see some of them going to do short courses in this, short courses in that to become relevant. So while the educational aspect and the academics is important in driving persons out of poverty, having a better society of more forward thinkers and that kind of thing, there's the downside of it. And if you don't create space to house these people, then they might end up being jobless and part of the unemployment rate. And also they might find themselves migrating outside of your country to find jobs. Yeah. So having a skilled based economy, like I've said, it's part of it's one market that makes up part of the economy, and it's very important because I don't want to say it's more important than academics, but you can marry the two.
Right.
Don't leave it out. Don't leave it out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And in today's society, in today's economy, things are hard. So even if you develop a skill for a side hustle, in Tenusha we say two money never fight. In other words, two sources of income is a good thing. So definitely, I agree with you.
No, no. Something you said there, right? And I just try to understand it as me being who I am. They say the place is hard. No, I sometimes don't even find time for myself or my little family that I
Right.
have because it's like I see people just laying around doing nothing, and saying the place hard. I can't get no money. I can't earn. And then I'm like, I wish I could clone myself into 4 or 5 different people to undertake some of the things that I do. So while the place is hard, there are opportunities that we could create and become entrepreneurs. We could fall into, become businessmen and women, and earn a comfortable living. But I don't want to say the place hard, the ground hard.
Right. Right. I love that. Now, I've observed, because I follow you, and I know that at least pretty recently in my viewing, you're into the agro business space. What exactly is that about?
Now, this agriculture space I would have entered into started with some in-laws of mine. But
Okay.
I've always been growing up in the countryside in Moruga Street in southern Trinidad. I've always been privy to different dynamics of agriculture. But by meeting these people, I would have been given a different perspective on large scale agriculture. While I understand that, doing my own research would have allowed me to tap into the processing side and also the technological side of it. Um,
Right.
what we would have done, we would have created a company around, a registered entity, and titled it Young Farmers Food Production Company Limited. Now, the name speaks for itself. What we do is we engage young persons and show them different dynamics as to the benefits of agriculture and how you can not only see it as hard work, intense labor, but also you can be one of the 1%ers by becoming fully devoted and fully into the aspects of agriculture. Whichever aspect you choose, whether it is animal, crops, or the supply of seedling, or the nutrient industry, there are different aspects of it. So whichever one you choose, you have to do it according to how it's done on large scale, and you can make a very, very, very good living out of it. What we have done ourselves, um, we would have looked at some of the technologies that surround it, which is being used in today's agriculture sector, which is we tackle hydroponics on small and large scale.
Mm-hmm.
Reason one, it gives the average person who do have land in large abundance or even small abundance a space. You can create a space for them to plant just like a farmer using the technology and still yield enough where you can earn a secondary income, right? And we introduce that to persons who know nothing about farming. They probably don't even know how to take a seedling from the ground and put it into our next place. And when we
Right.
teach them how to use these, when we teach them how to use these systems, it becomes very easy. And they now call themselves farmers. That's using the technological aspect of it. Then we have the agro processing side, in which we are coming up with different ways to the ordinary thing: yam, cassava, sweet potato, dashin. Take these crops and make it into something much more valuable by packaging them, making products of them and packaging them. So there are so many different things that we are doing, but the basis of it is that agriculture is not what it is seen as to the naked eye, or to the average person, as just hard work, dirty labor, which doesn't have much benefit.
Beautiful. I love that, I'm seeing that you're really into the sustainability field, really, everything that you're about, even the barbering, skill sets and technology that can be sustainable, right? I love that. All right. So we're moving on to my personal favorite segment of the Game Changers interview. It's called a Quick Hitters. Now, Quick Hitters are rapid fire questions, so answer them as quickly as possible. All right?
There we go.
You
Drink
ready?
some water before.
So my first question is, what music do you like to listen to?
Reggae and soca.
All right. You're a true Caribbean mind. I like that. Second question for the Quick Hitters. What is the best advice you've been ever given?
Success is not about how much money you make, but how much lives you can touch.
Beautiful. And my final quick hitter question. Who would you like to see on Game Changers?
Oh, that a quick one, boy. it has so, it has so many people I want to see do things like
I know
this.
you.
But I want to call out a friend of mine, a guy that we think on the same wavelength, and we always talk almost every day about similar things. Mr. Alan Rock. I think you know that guy as well.
Yes, okay. Great. Just link me with the contact and I'll make it happen. Absolutely. Great name drop. All right. So we're moving on to the back end of the interview. I know that you're also into volunteer work. During your time with the ASB, I think you were the regime just before I became an ASB member. I remember that you were heavy into volunteer work, helping the community, and I think you still are.
Yep.
Speak to the importance of young people doing things like that, getting involved in volunteer work.
Now, volunteering is something that is natural about me. So hence the reason I kind of gravitate towards different volunteer ventures very easily. As of current, I am a member of the Lions International Club, which has an arm in San Fernando. I'm a member of that. I recently joined the Volunteer Factory, another arm being formed right in my community here. And I myself undertake different volunteer work. Sometimes the Seventh-day Adventist primary schools would call me in on different career days that they have to talk to the younger ones about different things and bring it across in a different way that they themselves can understand, grasp the message, and take it along in their early stages of education. The what it does for me, it's very relaxing for me. Um, just knowing that I'm doing this, there's nothing for me to gain financially, but only for me to gain um, by the goodwills of people and the energy that reciprocates around life. Um, so it is very important to give back, or even while you achieve, to give while you achieve, and not just give $1 or $5 or some monetary contribution, but give of yourself. give of your service, give of your intellectual capacity to teach or help somebody undertake something. And in doing so, it can only do you good. Um, Even if sometimes you're going out of your way, but somewhere along the line, it makes a full circle and it comes back at you. As young people, one of the important thing in volunteering and finding that space where you do things for the goodwill of yourself, you meet a lot of like-minded people along the way. And you know that term where you say you have links here and you have links inside here. You create
Right, right.
um, you create you create good partnership, friendship with people that that are from different walks of life that you may be able to call upon
Mhm.
when you're really in need. And what is the one thing that they're going to remember? You were part of the same venture that they themselves were a part of, which is giving of yourself freely. And they're going to see it as part of themselves. So they wouldn't hesitate to assist or guide you along. So it's important as young people to find space within your community or your country in which you live that do things just from the natural ability of your heart and yourself. Right? That's the importance of it.
Beautiful. And I want to encourage any young person who's looking at this, not just young people, older people too, get
Everybody.
involved in volunteer work. It's an amazing thing to do, and you get satisfaction from it. So definitely get
And
involved.
sometimes you don't have to wait. Sometimes you don't have to wait until somebody say they're doing X, Y, and Z. You yourself could come up with that initiative and just throw it out there in the wind, and you're gonna find
Right.
like-minded people latching onto it and say, "Hey, this looks like a good idea. Let me jump on this." And you're gonna get people coming on board.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%, man. Beautiful. Okay, Emmanuel. So we're on the last two questions. My
Mhm.
penultimate question to you. How can people get in contact with you?
Um, I'm on social media, which is I think the easiest way.
Okay.
My name is Emmanuel Pierre on Facebook. Um, I manage about four different social media pages on Instagram. Some has to do with the
Wow.
businesses, and others have to do with some political venture that I'm also along in. Um, but
Okay.
search me up, Emmanuel Pierre, Young Farmers Food Production Company Limited on Facebook, Mastercuts TT on Instagram, Murga Gold on Instagram.
Great. Great. And as usual, I'll leave all your links down below so people can get easy access to your stuff and get in contact with you.
That's the beautiful thing about technology. The world now is in the palm of our hands. So
Yeah,
we can talk to somebody from all the way in the Middle East, and we sitting right here in the Caribbean. So it's easy now for information and to do business, which is good.
absolutely. My final question to you, Emmanuel. A young person is looking at this interview and is inspired by you, like I was inspired by you. What is your advice for a young person?
Um, I'll start by this. I'm only, as I say, in the earlier stages of this interview, I'm only 29. I'll be 30 this year. Um, I still have my whole life ahead of me, right? I may have so many things I want to achieve and accomplish and whatever. But as a young person, teenage years and entering your early 20s, don't limit yourself what you could achieve. I've met a number of persons who come across with the attitude of, that's not for me. I cannot do that. That's too hard. What would somebody think of me if I do this or if I do that?
Hmm.
Hey, you see something, you like it, it fits your profile as your natural ability, do it. Get involved.
Beautiful. That's good advice, man. I think anybody would love that. And anybody can use that advice. Emmanuel, this is the end of the interview. And to thank you so much for coming on. You know, wherever I go in the world, or whoever I have conversations with, I always find people who inspire me and impact my life. I want to tell you on this platform, in front of everybody, that you are one of these persons for me. And to thank you so much for being yourself. And I want to ask you to continue being the amazing person that you are. Thank you so much, my brother.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, this is yet another episode of Game Changers. And to thank you for coming on. I know you were inspired by this story, but there are so many more stories on Game Changers. So like, subscribe, and download all the episodes across platforms, and you can be inspired by these other stories. Until next time, as usual, stay hungry. Bye-bye.